window pane. And when the night it gets so cold, when I can't sleep, again you come to me. I hold you tight, the rain disappears. Who would believe it? With a word you dry my tears. You can do magic. You can have anything that you desire. Magic. And you know you're the one who can put out the fire. You know darn well when you cast your spell, you will get your way. When you hypnotize with your eyes, a heart of stone can turn to clay. If I wanted to, I could never be free. I never believed it was true. Now it's so clear to me. You can do magic. You can have anything that you desire. Magic. And you know you're the one who can put out the fire. You know darn well when you cast your spell, you will get your way. When you hypnotize with your eyes, a heart of stone can turn to clay. You're the one who can put out the fire. You're the one who can put out the fire. You're the one who can put out the fire. You're the one who can put out the fire.
Welcome. My name is Amy Self, and I'm delighted to be your worship leader this morning. There's lots of things I love about this church. Among them, the strong sense of community, the lasting, deep relationships that I've built over the years. I love the intellectual stimulation that I get from trainings and things like that, discussions with people. I love the sense of community. I love the time, every time I come into this service, I feel like I'm asked to spiritually explore my beliefs. And as you know, I'm a music educator, so I love the music, and it really helps me to go deeper with all of these things that I just mentioned. So I really appreciate Johnny and Wigte and the Chancel Cats for making these church services just fantastic. I want to extend a very warm welcome to anyone who's visiting here for the first time. Rather than gathering because we have the same beliefs, we are an intentional community that gathers because we have a shared promise to support each other in our individual spiritual journeys. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults united in the mission to grow and help heal the planet. Whether you just stepped into church for the first time this morning, or whether this is your 100th or 1,000th time to come, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. No matter how much money is in your pocket, no matter if you have no degree, a PhD, or a GED, you are welcome here. We are a people of different races and beliefs. We are a people of many genders and sexual orientations. Every part of you is sacred. Every part of you is welcome. You belong here. If you're joining us online, fill out a visitor form in the link in the description. We'd love to connect with you. And I have one announcement to share. After the service today at 12:30 in the Emerson room, which is kitty corner to this room, Reverend David and our membership coordinator, Irene, will be facilitating a class called Finding Yourself at UUCB. A chance to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, learn about this particular congregation, and to find out what it means to formally join our church. Lunch is provided. It's one of the perks of this church, lots of food, and you're warmly welcome to attend even if you didn't RSVP. So now I'd like to invite Irene up for an announcement, our membership coordinator.
Good morning. As Amy said, I'm Irene. I'm the membership coordinator here. And my announcement actually starts with a little bit of gratitude. I want to start by saying thank you to the membership and connection team, and especially Robin Miller for their hard work in organizing and facilitating last Sunday's Opportunities Fair. Yep. So for those of you who were able to come and were there, you know that there are lots of ways to get involved or get more involved here at UUCB. For anyone who was not able to come last week, or if you've just been thinking over all the different opportunities, it's not too late. So if you're not sure what might be available out there, I highly encourage you to go to our website. There's a section called Groups and Teams that will give descriptions on all the different groups and teams that are here and what they do. And whether it's that or if there's just something on your mind, please send me an email and we'll get you connected. Thanks.
Good morning, good morning. AV folks, I don't know if you can see it in the booth, but there's this flicker that happens on the monitor, and if that's what it is today, we're going to roll with it just fine. Yesterday afternoon, so many of you gathered in this space for a memorial service, a celebration of the life of Betty Skip, a long-term member of this congregation. And I said then, and I'll say again, that sometimes I talk with kids and parents and elders trying to describe what it is we're doing here, what it is to make a life in this community. I tell them that we are looking for wonder in the simplest ordinary things, in rocks and hillsides. I tell them we're trying to fall in love with questions. with questions that'll carry us through our whole lives instead of one definitive answer forever. I tell people we are trying our absolute best to live our values in the world, to love always, fearlessly, ferociously, with warmth and wit. I tell them we're here to try to face the difficult and painful realities of our lives, of our world, without pretending those things aren't real. Worship, said the Unitarian theologian James Luther Adams, worship, that word, worship, that practice, this practice, is the experience of renewed loyalty to the spirit of love and all its ways. We gather this morning, whoever we are, come from so many rooms and lives and paths. We gather, some of us lifted up in joyful celebration in this moment, and we come this morning bearing with us the weight of our beloved dead, carrying with us the uncertainty of all the things undone and the steps not taken. And we gather, we do this strange thing that we're doing right now every week because we need a renewed loyalty to the spirit of love. And we gather humbly and joyfully, knowing we are enough, and we're not enough, and we're enough, ready to follow love where it leads us. We rise in body or in spirit. Let's begin in song.
Good morning, UUCB. Good morning. We are going to sing Morning Has Broken. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for him springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the moonlight, Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's resurrection of the new day. You may be seated.
The chalice is a symbol of our liberal faith. It is the warmth of compassion, the fire of justice, and a lamp to light our way on our own spiritual paths. If you're joining us online and have a chalice nearby, please get it ready to light with us. I'd like to invite Joe Pullman to light this morning's chalice.
Thank you, Amy. My name is Joe Pullman, and I joined this congregation in the last year. My journey to here began with positive experiences and wonderful memories with my family in the Roman Catholic Church growing up in Indiana. Those many years of masses and sacraments taught me the embodied power of ritual, how repeating activities over time creates personal and historical threads of significance. That's one of the reasons I'm so pleased to be doing the UU ritual of chalice lighting for a service for the first time. Ultimately, Catholicism and Christianity were simply not inclusive enough for me. And I found my way to Unitarian Universalism thanks to my wife, Kate McQuaid. I find so much meaning in what we in this church do together and how we covenant. But I will focus on one part today. I love that we seek to connect bravely here, because I believe the divine is manifest in the connections between humans and other humans, and in our connections with the network of all life. So I light this chalice in celebration of and respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part.
To covenant is to commit, that even if we fall short of our aspirations, we will not let go of them. We will never cease from trying again to live them out. In that spirit, gathered in person or online, will you all together speak our covenant aloud? We gather in fellowship to speak truth to each other, to reach out and touch one another, to care with each other, and to seek the truth divine. So be it.
You join me in a spirit of prayer and meditation, a time for practice, a time for stillness. Let's begin with a breath all together, slow, deep. Deep. And another arriving in this moment. Part of the work of practice, I think part of the work of prayer or meditation, whatever name you call it, is a work of slowing down and quieting down enough to listen to the world, to yourself, to whatever it is beyond you. So I invite you into that today. It's a slow work. We learn how to do this over time. Nobody automatically knows how to get anything out of prayer meditation. So I invite you into practice. And we'll begin inside ourselves, going deeper, going inward, starting in your mind. I invite you, in a moment, we'll breathe together in silence. Close your eyes and listen to the chattering internal monologue of yourself. To that place that your brain goes. Maybe it's all the things there are to do. Maybe it's what's been going on today or what's ahead yet. And without trying to fix it or change it or anything, just in silence, listen and let yourself be exactly where you are. And if your intention, if your focus is sort of like an elevator, we're going to metaphorically go from your head down into your heart to listen and pay attention to all those things on your heart. The people who you love, the hopes and worries that you have, the griefs that you carry, the tenderness that's there that sometimes we have to close away to move through the world and be safe in it. I invite you in the silence to listen for what is it that's on your heart today. And then deeper still, that elevator goes all the way down to the bottom, that solid and central part of you, which opens in love and compassion to everyone, that part of you that knows that everybody around you is just as real and complicated and beautiful as you yourself are, even when you don't always believe that about yourself. And to take a moment to rest in that feeling, to rest in that trust, that underneath everything swirling in your mind, underneath everything on your heart, is an ocean of compassion. And we return from that place bit by bit. Whether you sunk all the way into it or dipped in a toe or just trusted and imagined it might be in there somewhere. Our work isn't to be in that place all the time. It's not to do it perfectly, and it's not that you're bad if you're not compassionate about everyone every moment of the day. I think our work in this moment is to remember that that's there. That underneath everything else in our lives and between us, there's this place of compassion and care and grace. Even if we can't get there, even if it feels impossibly far away, it is there. And we'll get back there again. Amen. Ritual is the outward expression of an inward movement that unfolds over years. And in moving our bodies, in placing stones to symbolize our joys and sorrows, we're gardeners of our souls. We're tending and training. We're teaching ourselves to recognize that hope and suffering are woven daily into our living. And in that, in ritual, in practice, we become a people who recognize the beauty and the tragedy that just fills this world. And for you gathered in person, when the music begins in a moment, I'll invite you, come forward as you feel moved. Take a stone, hold it in silence, feel its weight, feel your body warm it, and let that stone stand an emblem of your thankfulness, your worry, your hope, your fear, all of it, and place that into the sacred earth, surrounded by this whole gathered company, all of our joys and sorrows made visible to each other. Place a first stone in solidarity with the people of Israel and Palestine, in hope for an end to the addictive madness of war and the cycle of violence which passes from one generation to the next. May we pay attention when we'd rather turn away. May we open our hearts in compassion, and may we be people who hope and work and believe that just and lasting peace is possible in this world. For all of our hopes and griefs, we hold this space with love. To these stones, I'll add a joy and a sorrow. First, Gary and Babs Hurley celebrated 38 years of marriage yesterday. And second, I lift up again the life of Betty Skip. We gathered yesterday to send her off with deep love.
Just a note, when we select and prepare music for the service, we try to find songs that have a positive message and especially reinforce the theme of the service. Pure reason or other forms of magical thinking left us scratching our heads a bit, which is one of the things I like about Reverend David's preaching is the way his titles are intriguing and somewhat mysterious. So this song is in common with that in that it has the word magic in it.
Never believed anything I could see. Said if I can't see it, how could it be? No, no magic happened to me. When I saw you, I couldn't believe it. You took my heart, I couldn't retrieve it. Said to myself, what's it all about? Now I know there can be no doubt. Magic, you can have anything that you desire. Magic, and you know you're the one who can put out the fire. You know darn well when you cast your spell, you will get your way. When you hypnotize with your eyes, a heart of stone can turn to clay. And when the rain is beating upon the window pane, and when the night gets so cold, when I can't sleep, again you come to me. I hold you tight, the rain disappears. Who would believe it? With a word you dry my tears. You can do magic. You can have anything that you desire. Magic, and you know you're the one who can put out the fire. You know darn well when you cast your spell, you will get your way. When you hypnotize with your eyes, a heart of stone can turn to clay. And if I wanted to, I could never be free. I never believed it was true, but now it's all clear to me. You can do magic. You can have anything that you desire. Magic, and you know you're the one who can put out the fire. You know darn well when you cast your spell, you will get your way. When you hypnotize with your eyes, a heart of stone can turn to clay.
the power of our minds to logically analyze and ask questions and seek explanations grounded in data and observation and inference, reason. Reason is one of our core values as Unitarian Universalists, and it has been for a long time. Our Universalist roots in the late 1700s, that happened because our Christian ancestors read their Bible closely. That was their authoritative text then. They read it and they analyzed it and they looked for data, and they could not find in that text any good reason to think an all-loving God was going to condemn people to burn eternally. Universalists, universal salvation. Our Unitarian ancestors in the early 1800s, they did the same thing. They went to their authoritative text, they went to Scripture, and they read as closely as they could, and they put together all the pieces as best they could, and they couldn't find any good reasons to think God was a Trinity. That's where the Unitarian side comes from. The point of that being that when new information comes along, when existing information is insufficient, when the existing doctrine that says some people are going to be tortured forever and God is in 3 parts, when that doesn't seem to make sense anymore, you take a close look and you start to re-examine what's true. I want to give you an example of this. All right, so this is the Q&A portion of the service. So obviously, what are these? These candles, yeah. And here we go. Here's a votive. Votive basically has 3 parts. You've got the little metal container, you've got the wax or paraffin, you've got the wick. I don't think I'm telling you anything new so far. Here's a question. Is this edible? I don't know if you can hear online. There's a clear consensus this is not edible, which is good. It's not poisonous, but I need, especially given what I'm about to do, I need to stress that this is not edible and you should not eat candles. So I've got my votive here. I don't want to eat the wick part, but let me eat the rest of it. Again, I need to stress you should not eat candles. What is happening right now? What is this? Oh, I love this. Someone just guessed marshmallow. This is I wish it was a marshmallow. I wish. Maybe next time I do this, that will be a better decision than a turnip. All right, I'm gonna do the reveal. It's a turnip. I took the turnip, I cut it in half, I cut it into a little votive-sized thing, I poked a hole in the middle, I pushed the wick through. And I can't resist saying that this morning you all did basically the same thing I just did because you turn up for church. I am very proud and embarrassed that I just said that. No, what you really just did was you looked at the existing information you had, that this is a candle and it's not edible. You got new information, which is that I was eating it, and your rational mind started to go to work and say, well, wait a minute. These two things don't go together. What's actually going on here? What's the new data? And you asked, and I told you, sadly, it was not a marshmallow. It was a turnip. New information means you change your mind. We collect all that we can from all the sources that we have, and then when we get new data, we change. Honest use of reason goes hand in hand with a deep humility about our own knowledge. The physicist Richard Feynman says, I think it is much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. He says, I have approximate answers and possible beliefs and different degrees of uncertainty about different things. And this is wonderful. There's a video of this interview as he's saying it, and he's saying it with a great big grin on his face. He's delighted to be sharing it. I live with possible beliefs and different degrees of uncertainty about different things, but I'm not absolutely sure of anything. And there's many things I don't know anything about. Without humility and curiosity, a commitment to reason alone just looks like ignorance. I know I don't like turnips. Without humility and curiosity, reason turns into ignorance. Let me demonstrate this. Let me tell you a story. So I grew up a digital native. I played Oregon Trail on my Apple IIgs in 4th grade. I can still sing you the song that a 2400 baud modem makes when it connects to the internet. Join in if you know that one. What I mean in saying that, though, is this idea of I am a person who can do stuff with computers was deep in my identity, my sense of myself, by the time I arrived at an office job in my mid-20s. And my coworker, Mo, asked me how to troubleshoot a printer problem that he had. I don't think I can no longer describe the level of confidence and arrogance I had sitting down at his desk. This was going to be 15 to 30 seconds, and I'd be done. And 20 minutes later, I am sweating. I mean, sweat is coming down my body as I sit in his chair, and he watches me very calmly, quietly. I couldn't solve it. But more importantly, I could not admit to him, but especially to myself, I could not admit I didn't have the first clue what was going on. And instead of saying that, I tossed out a series of obviously wrong guesses that were mostly designed to illustrate what I did know. And finally, Mo just gently says, "Dude, just say, I don't know." And he was right, and I did. I thought that what I was doing, the story I told myself of what I was doing, was logically analyzing the problem and working my way to a solution. But the fact is, after 15 to 30 seconds, that stopped. And what I was actually doing was using all my smarts and logic and reason to come up with an explanation that I knew what I was doing when I did not. The moral philosopher David Hume, centuries ago, argues that reason is the servant of desire, not its master. Which is to say, reason is not objectivity. It's not even close to objectivity. It is a tool. And we can use it for all sorts of things. A match lights a fire to keep you warm in the wilderness. It also burns down your neighbor's garage. The match doesn't care. You got to put reason together with humility and curiosity and ethics. Otherwise, you end up using reason to defend your own ego instead of solving Mo's computer problem. Humanity is maybe less of a rational animal than a rationalizing animal, which is to say we often, in big ways and little ways, deploy reason to find justifications of the things we already want or believe. It was, for example, not prejudice, but objective market demands. And hear the sarcasm drip off my words. Objective market demands that justified exclusionary housing policies following World War II. Suburban residents, none of them were bigoted. They just explained that if black people moved to their neighborhood, property values would go down. Framing active exclusion, framing segregation in terms of objective economic theory. Segregation in the housing market, hear this sarcasm, was not racism. It was scientific necessity to carry out the will of the market. And if government housing loan practices didn't lend to people of color, well, that was just a response to objective market demands. Naked racism dressed up in objectivity and reason. We're good at that. We're good at doing that. Reason is the servant of desire, in this case, greed and prejudice. But also things aren't hopeless, so I don't want to swing too far in that despairing direction either, because our UU ancestors, in addition to reading the Bible with their rational and analytic minds, in doing that, they were setting themselves in opposition to the conservatives of their time, some of whom are still the conservatives of our time, who believe in the total depravity of humanity. This Calvinist perspective that says we are so, as human beings, we are so utterly and totally corrupted by sin that nothing we do can ever be right, nothing we reason can ever be true, and only by relying on what God says can we get ourselves together. And incidentally, they are the ones who know what God says. This, I hope you agree, seems clearly absurd. But sometimes people react to a tradition that injures them by just flipping it exactly on its head unchanged. And instead of turning to God to justify whatever narrow view of the world they already have, they turn to reason to do exactly the same thing. I've heard people say, because I am a rational person, not a religious person, because I am a rational person who uses reason, I really can't be prejudiced. I really can't be fooled, which is, of course, ridiculous. You are the easiest person for you to fool in the world. But James Frey Croft unpacks this. He explains what I'm talking about here. He says it better. He's a writer and a leader in the ethical culture movement. And he unpacks this talking about some of his fellow prominent atheist leaders speaking and writing about queer rights. He says, I wish I could say it was surprising to see so many prominent atheists and skeptics jump onto the anti-trans bandwagon. I know it'll send some people into fits of rage, but the pose adopted by those skeptics, majority straight cis white men, by the way, is that they are the ones who dare speak the forbidden truths. But underneath it is this incredible hubristic error and lack of empathy. The pose there by these anti-trans reasonable people is we are smarter than you. We know more about your lives than you do. What you say about your life and experience doesn't matter. There's no intellectual humility in that. There's no curiosity about other people's lives. There's no expansive idea of what it is to be human. There's no basic empathy, no real critical engagement. It is pantomime rationalism. I fear that they do believe what they're saying, he writes. Tale as old as time, people who who idolize their rationality, rationalizing their own prejudices. And he continues, James Frey Croft, he says, all I can say is thank goodness I turned out to be gay, because I think this may have saved me from a similar fate. He says, I see that same intellectual hubris in myself, the tendency to think I am the smartest one in the room and I can out-rational everyone else. But for him, being gay forced me to feel, he says, the experience, often not dramatic, of marginalization, of minoritization, was a shock to the system. For us as Unitarian Universalists, we have one foot in our Christian roots, and one foot in humanism, and one foot in atheism, one foot in Buddhism, one foot in religious. We have a lot of feet. But what we do with that means that we are not a tradition of easy answers. It means that reason is this critically important value that we absolutely cannot throw out, and that we acknowledge isn't sufficient on our own. It's one value among our values. Some Christian traditions say faith alone is what saves you. Some non-Christians seem to feel that reason alone is what saves you. And we take a position, I think, try this on, that does not condense well into a soundbite. You say, well, some of this and some of that, and reason, yes, absolutely, but also right there alongside humility and compassion and uncertainty, all of that part of the total human experience, all of us trying to work those things out for ourselves, all of us without absolute definite answers, but reasonably sure about some things, and willing to change our minds when we get new information, and in fact, not waiting for it to come to us, but seeking it out and saying, what don't I know? What are the parts of experience and world and life that I don't know what they are? And damn it, I guess I'm gonna have to change my mind if they do come along. Malvina Reynolds, the folk singer and activist whose words we're gonna sing in just a moment, she writes in this, she says, give us room to move and grow, but give our spirit play, and we can make a world of light out of the common clay. Give us room to move and grow, to change. Give our spirit play, which I think is both playfulness and also not such a tight leash, but the play enough to discover and explore, to encounter each other and the experience which is different from our own. And then we can make a world of light out of the common clay. We rise, embody your spirit, friends. Let's sing it together.
Oh, what a piece of work are we? Oh, what a piece of work are we, how marvelously wrought, the quick contrivance of the hand, the wonder of our thought, the wonder of our thought. Why need to look for miracles outside of nature's law? Humanity we wonder at with every breath we draw, with every breath we draw. But give us room to move and grow, but give our spirit play, and we shall make a world of light out of the common clay, out of the common clay. You may be seated.
This month, our offering goes to Mindful Works. Mindful Works was established as a social enterprise in late 2014 to offer an innovative approach to the treatment of mental illness through job skills and transitional employment programs. Studies confirm, for you data people, rational people, that work is a critical component in the establishment of independent living and well-being for those recovering from mental illness. Mindful Works provides job-driven training and real employment opportunities to those in recovery from mental illness. Program participants develop skills in the design, production, and sales of high-quality, handcrafted wellness, meditation, and home decor products. Please enjoy the short video that will tell you more about Mindful Works.
My name is Susan Williams, and I am very honored to be the Executive Director of Mindful Works. The mission of Mindful Works is to provide job-driven training and real employment opportunities to those in recovery from mental health challenges. And we do this through the design and production of high-quality, locally crafted products. We help the apprentices with cutting and a few simple sewing that they can do. We know that having a job is essential for recovery, but it's not always as easy as just going out and getting a job. Sometimes you need a transition, a stepping stone, and that's what we provide.
I was feeling so much anxiety and so nervous, and I had even set up a couple of interviews, and I was like, I'm just not ready, I can't do it.
One of our taglines is every stitch a purpose. Everything we do here, whether it's sewing or baking or making lotions, helps people learn job skills.
Showing up on time, being prepared to work, having the stamina to get through the work day.
We're all here working on ourselves and honing our skills and putting all these tools into our toolboxes so that we can go out and accomplish even more.
Work, school, volunteering, some sort of meaningful activity is an integral and critical part of recovery.
One of the things that's so awesome about Mindful Works is that this gives people a reason to get up in the morning and go somewhere. They belong somewhere.
One of our apprentices just got a job in the traditional marketplace, and we just found out yesterday. It's very exciting.
It took a while for him to get where he needs to be to hold a job, but he got there, which is just really awesome.
I think something that the organization does really well is that they really try to meet apprentices where they're at.
I don't look at anybody here as somebody with a mental illness. They are not the mental illness. They are just people. You don't look at these people with issues. You just look at them as coworkers and people who are here to learn a job.
And it's a family. You know, we are the family with apprentices.
Everyone's really nice. Everyone cares about like your well-being.
It's like nothing I've ever experienced in a different workplace.
So many of our apprentices have not belonged anywhere. Here they belong.
Thank you, that was lovely. I invite you to give as generously as you are able. For those online, you can use the QR code or find a link in the video description. For those gathered in person, you can scan the QR code or make a donation as the ushers pass the baskets around. May our gifts be used to enact justice, bringing peace and love to the Boulder community.
Thank you for your generosity to our larger community. We end hoping for renewed loyalty to that spirit of love in all its ways, seeking to be a people who put together our critical minds and our loving hearts and hands set to work for justice in the world. Our worship ends and our work begins again. Go in peace, friends. Will you rise and body your spirit? Let's close in song.
It's there in the eyes of the children, the inner faces smiling in the windows. You can come on, open the door, brushed away the tears of freedom. Now we hear there's no turning back. We have each other, we have one voice. Hand in hand we can lay the tracks, because the train is coming to carry you home. Come dance with me. Everybody dance into the light. Oh, come on and dance into the light. Sing it, Robin.
There'll be no more hiding in the shadows of fear. There'll be no more chains to hold you. The future is yours, you hold the key, and there are no walls with freedom. Now we're here and we won't go back. We are one world, we have one voice. Side by side we are not afraid, because the train is coming to carry you home.
Come dance with me. Come on and dance into the light. Oh, everybody dance into the light. Come on, take it up. You see the sun, it's a brand new day. All the world's in your hands, now use it. What's past is past, don't turn around. Brush away the cobwebs of freedom. Hand in hand you can lay the tracks. You are one voice. Hand in hand we can lay the tracks, because the train is coming to carry you home. Come dance with me. Come on and dance into the light. Oh, everybody dance into the light. Oh, come on. Come on and dance into the light. Oh, come on and dance into the light. Come on, Charlie. Oh, come on and dance into the light. You want to dance, Barbara? Oh, everybody dance into the light. Oh, come on and dance into the light. Oh, come on and dance into the light. Oh, Everybody dance into the light. Oh, come on and dance into the light. Oh, come on and dance into the light. Oh, come on and dance into the light. Everybody dance.